Hey everybody, Tom here. We're on to week 6 now. Can you believe it? Week 6. This is our midterm. Now this is the midpoint of the semester for our class. So welcome to midterm. So this is, we're going to go into painting flowers, and I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity to talk about design and picking and choosing and organizing an image to paint. So I have this photograph here that I took a couple of years ago of the petunias growing in my one of my pots out front of my house. And I've got some things in there that, well, need to be organized and maybe some of it taken out and reduced and simplified. So I did that digitally. I took the time to pull this image into my program on my iMac and started working with it. I just built a simple line drawing of the flowers in a manner that I thought would work. So as you can see, I'm picking this flower, this flower, this one, and this one. And the others I'm letting go. I'm not including them because I want to be careful not to over complicate the scene or the form. I got the line work done. I started plugging in some colors, deciding what colors I wanted them to be, and further developed it into this here where I worked on the foliage and then kind of finished it out that way. So I went through that process of thinking about how to execute this painting. So with that being the case, let's go ahead and begin the painting. I'm going to go ahead and hit double time here. We actually have a lot of minutes to cover. So I started right in with painting the flowers themselves, the colors that I've chosen to paint them. Now, all of the colors, all of the flowers across the top here were purple. This one was pink. I chose to make this one a blue just to bring in and introduce another color. I don't know if there's actually a petunia that gets that color, but that doesn't matter to me. I was designing for other reasons than what one might think of as being reality. So there we go. Now I had actually forgotten to paint this portion of that flower. It goes with it, but you'll see that I added in later. Now I'm mixing up a violet, but notice how I didn't even clean this mixing cell down here. I just dove right in. And I'm using a brush that really is kind of almost too big for the job, except for the very fine tip that it has on it. And I'm anticipating that because of the fact that that particular blossom is actually a wilting one, leaving some of the white of the paper will only add to the sort of the sense of aged raggedness of the blossom, and it's ready to be picked. That's what I've discovered with petunia blossoms. You know, as they get old and they shrivel, as you pick them, it stimulates new blossom growth. Alright, so now let's get busy with the other blossoms. Kind of breaking my rule of thumb, which is that light to dark, top to bottom, back to front principle, and here I am, not going back to front, but basically going front to back. So, yeah, kind of backwards. There's a reason why I do that, and it's because I want these colors of the flowers to be clear and untainted by other colors, and I feel that I'm able to do it in this manner better than other methods. During the time of painting this, I'm looking up and I'm studying the image as I have it on the screen. So I went back, painted in that petal, and you could see there's a little bleed from one to the other because that purple area wasn't totally dry, but it's okay. It's only a watercolor. Calm down, relax. Remember to breathe. Remember to breathe. Now this is a rare thing where you're seeing me wipe out the cell. And that's because I want the pure pink that I'm going to be mixing up here to not be contaminated by any other color. And that's what I do to maintain that. I'm actually holding I'm holding it in front of a fan right now to try and get it to dry up some before I start to paint. Okay, so in with the pink. Again, as I'm going along, it's wet paint on dry paper, so once in a while I will get a little edge like that. That's okay. I can work through it. There's an aspect of just remembering that this is a watercolor. And there are times when watercolor is going to do some things that are unexpected, and you just learn to roll with it. I'll call this up real quick. Actually, put it about like that. So you can see the photo and kind of make comparisons with between the photo and what I'm doing on the painting. So I've done the petunia blossoms themselves. Now I'm diving in with the colors of green in the of the foliage. So this gives me an opportunity to really explore with color and to just pick up some different shades of green. Now, I go ahead and I just spill right over that line. Why? Because it's going to become dark later on. So can be able to pull that out. Okay. Now there are times when I follow what lines I laid down pretty faithfully and carefully. There are times then when I go beyond the lines and I make a design decision off the cuff. So for example, that would be like this right here. Now I cut into here when I had my pencil line drawn like this. I just cut across like that. I do that more and more as I start painting more of the detail in the greens. All of this through here, I allude to it with some of the marks that I'm making, but it's not super tight and faithful to what to what's actually in the photograph. Just remember, there is room to interpret what it is that you're seeing. Okay, so while I was changing to the next segment, you can see I made some progress with regard to filling in this area here that I forgot to fill with the blue of the flower. Now I'm coming in with light and shade. I've determined in my drawings digital work where I want that to be. Now I'm coming in with a smaller brush, and now I'm establishing the light and shade patterns on these blossoms. I've also colored in with yellow in the background and even added just a little touch of a washed out violet and some watermarks and spatters in order to help that background be a part of the scene. So as this is happening, you're seeing my painting action at speed, not double speed, just to clarify that. Sometimes when you watch a video and they're of an artist painting on YouTube and they're painting double time, you find yourself wondering, why can't I paint that fast? And because of all the preliminary work that I did in the preliminary digital work, laying out these colors now and these patterns of light and dark and these flowers and blossoms is really quite easy to do. Okay, well, again, I'm coming up on my 15-minute limit for this online service that I use, so we'll be ending the video in just a minute here and moving on to the next portion. Okay, see you in the next video.